stings the nostrils a bit. Kind of has a gasoline smell to it.
It's wine, honey.
I don't know. Okay, I guess it's okay.
I wonder what kind of grapes they used.
I think they are Pinot Grigio grapes.
You don't know what you're talking about.
I'm part Italian, babe.
No, you're not. I wonder how they make wine.
Oh my gosh, a floating box!
Hey there guys, I've got Viticulture Essential Edition on the table here. Let me let you guys take a look at it. This is a worker placement game in which you are going to be making wine. Let me explain how it works real quick. In this game, you will be placing your rooster to determine the order in which you would like to go in, and whoever places their rooster highest at the beginning of the round will get to go first in placing their workers out, but they will not get any of the bonuses. And the further down this track you go, the better the bonuses you get, but you are taking the chance that you will not get the places that you want to put your workers out. After you've done that and determined who gets to place their worker out first, you then move into what is known as summer. And in summer, that was spring, placing your rooster. In summer, you will get to place your workers only on these yellow action spots. And thematically, this game works very thematically. This is one reason why it's such a good game, a good worker placement game to play with non-gamers, because it's very thematic. So thematically, you are planting vines and you are giving tours to people who want to see your vineyard in the summer. You are building structures because the weather's good outside, so on and so forth. That's what you're doing in summer. But only one worker can go to each little spot. And in a 2-player game, you only use the leftmost spot. In a 3- and 4-player game, you can use the first 2. In 5 and 6 players, you can use all 3. So you can only have one little guy in each circle. Now, if you're playing with 3 or more players, you are almost always going to come to this middle circle first, because that gives an additional bonus. I get to plant 2 vines when I go here. If I take this center circle, if it's already occupied, then I have to go to one of these other 2, depending on how many players are in the game. But I don't get the bonus. Now, you see these card colors here, and there's all sorts of different colors in the game. They're all up here at the top, and what they represent, the green cards are the vine cards, and they look like this. And they essentially have 2 important pieces of information. If there's any icons in the top left, then that tells you you have to have built that type of structure before you can plant that vine in your field. And then if there are numbers on the bottom of the card in different colors. The numbers and colors represent the kinds of grapes that those vines produce. The higher the numbers, the better. And so the way you keep track of that, when you plant, you're going to plant in your field, and you can have as much up to what that field has a maximum of. So this field right here can only have up to 5 grapes. So this one counts as 1, and I could have this 4 right here, and that's 5. I can't go any higher. This one can hold up to 6. This one can hold up to 7. That's how that works. Now I can get more green cards. Again, I can give tours to people. I can build structures. I can sell my fields and make extra money, or I can sell grapes if I have them, or I can play summer visitor cards, and these are the yellow cards. And essentially what these people do, these are people coming to your vineyard, your winery, to take a look at it and give you special benefits. Now, in order to play these people, you have to be able to satisfy all the requirements listed in the bottom and in order to gain the benefits. And that's essentially how that works. After you have put out your workers for summer and taken those actions, then you will either pass if you want to save any of your workers to be able to use in the second half of the round in winter, because any of the workers that you use in summer are stuck there till the end of the year. You cannot use them. They are lost to you until the end of the year. And so if you want to be able to do anything in winter, you have to have set aside some of your workers. Now, while we're on the topic of workers, you have 2 different kinds of workers. You have a smaller one, and then you have a grande one. He's big. The Grande worker, what he does is he's able to come to a spot even if there is already a worker there. So if there's already a worker there in a 2-player game, you can only use the leftmost space. So if there's a worker here, I wouldn't normally be able to go, but if I have the Grande worker, I can put him here anyway and still take the action. The Grande worker cannot get you the bonus if the bonus is already taken, by the way. So after we do summer, we then go into fall, and in fall you get one of the visitor cards. And I've already explained what the summer ones are. The winter ones are exactly the same. It's just that you can only play them in winter. And in order to do that, you have to come here. So once everybody gets their visitor card, then we go into winter. And the winter action spaces work the same as the summer ones. They just do different things. Thematically, again, they make sense. You're going to harvest your fields. And so when I harvest a field, I gain the grapes that are listed on the field that I'm harvesting. So in this case, I would get a red 4 and a red 1. And I would take 2 of these grape tokens right here, and I would cover up the different colors and numbers that I just mentioned. So a red 4 and a red 1. And those are my grapes. And I keep track of that here in my crush pad. I can then take the make wine action, sending a person here. And what that looks like is I can turn these grapes into wine. So I can make a red 1 and a red 4. And again, the higher the number, the better the quality of wine. Now, in order to make any of the wines you see listed here in this section, I would have had to have built my medium cellar. And same idea, in order to make any of these wines here, I would have to have built my large cellar. Can't build a large cellar until you build a medium cellar first. You see these pink colored ones right here, these are blushes, and in order to make a blush, I have to combine a white grape with a red grape, and that would give me a blush. These special looking ones right here in the large cellar, these are sparkling wines, and in order to make a sparkling wine, I have to combine 1 white grape with 2 red grapes, and that's how you get that. You add the numbers together to get these higher numbers here. Now, after everybody has done their winter placement actions, you go into the end of year, and the first thing you do is you age your grapes and wine tokens. Just like in real life, grapes and wine age, and in this game, how that works is you just advance it 1 number. And again, if you were to go from, like, let's say a 3 to a 4, and you have not built your medium cellar, you can't do that, and so your 3 just stays a 3. Same thing if going from a 6 to a 7, if you haven't built your large cellar, then your 6 would just stay a 6, and they don't age. After aging, you retrieve your workers, and then you collect residual payments. So let's talk about completing an order real quick. These are what the order cards look like. They're the purple ones. And the numbers up here and the colors represent the type of wine and the quality of wine that this particular order is asking for. So a red 3 and a white 1. So if I had a red 3, and let's say that this was a white 1, I could discard both of these wines, and I would have enough to satisfy this order. I would then gain the victory points listed here, and so that's kept track here on this bottom track right here. And I would then gain what is called residual income. And so how that works is that's kept track here on this little cycle. And I start the game right here in the middle, which is essentially 0, and I advance this number of spaces when I complete this order. So in this case, 1. And what this is at the end of the year, I collect residual payments, and wherever I'm at on this is how many dollars I get at the end of the round. So I want to be higher on this. The maximum is 5. Because that's how much money I'm getting each round. After that, discard down to 7 cards, and then first player rotates counterclockwise. You repeat that over and over and over again until someone advances all the way to 20 points or higher, at which point that would be the last round of the game, and whoever is the highest after that round is the winner, and that is how you play Viticulture Essential Edition. Okay, so here's Sam and I doing a 2-player playthrough of Viticulture Essential Edition. And if you want to check out that playthrough video, click the eye in the top right corner and it'll take you to that video. Right now we're going to share our thoughts on this game. I'll go first and let you guys know that I really enjoyed Viticulture. I'd never played it before until we did this review on it, and it was quite the experience. It's kind of one of those games that's a little bit unlike any other. There are tons of worker placement games out there, and lots of them have great themes, but this game is very much tied into the theme of winemaking. Every step you take to make the wine makes sense. From planting the vines, to harvesting the grapes, to crushing them into wine, to filling the orders, it all makes sense. And that's really cool. The thing about it, though, it's such a slow pace. This is a slow burn of a game. The points do not come easy in this game. You have to work very hard for them. And I kind of like that. I don't know that I want to experience that every time I sit down to play a game, but every now and then it's kind of enjoyable to know that what I'm going to have to do, it's going to take a little bit more work, a little bit more effort, but I kind of imagine that that's not something that's so great for a non-gamer sometimes. What do you think, Sam?
Well, I mean, the immediate gratification is not there. It takes some time. I will say this was our second time playing the game because the first time Lance forgot to turn the camera on. And I think that it's a good thing that we're reviewing it after playing it 2 times, because the first time there's a learning curve. And I didn't hate it. I just didn't understand it as much, I guess. I understood the process and the theme, but it just took a little while. Worker placement games can be hit or miss with me. I don't like the concept that every little move I make can be taken over by an opponent, because we're taking turns going back and forth. So I can have a plan in my mind and that completely gets thrown out the window, and it's not even on purpose. I mean, they have the same plan, especially when you play a 2-player game and only one person can be at these places at once.
Right.
That can be frustrating for a non-gamer.
So I think one thing that we're definitely going to throw out there is that if you are playing this with a non-gamer, our advice would be to not do it at a 2-player play count. You at least want 3, probably even more, maybe 4 or 5, because it opens up the other play spots at the different action spots on the board.
Yeah, I would agree with that as well.
So Sam, let me ask you, do you feel like this game is too deep, too complicated for a non-gamer?
No, I don't think so, especially after playing it a second time. I get it. I understood what I was trying to do. I understood what the end goal was. I will say, though, I felt like, as accurate as it was as far as the making of the wine, it was just too many steps. I wish they could have just taken out one of the steps, because it was 4 steps to fill a order. And then if you ended up starting the round or starting the game with sparkling wine or blush, it's going to take you a lot longer than somebody who just has a card with a red on it. And I really wish they would have maybe done 2 decks, where the first deck just has white or red and you draw from that at the beginning of the game. And maybe on round 3 or 4, you can draw from the other deck that has the blush and the sparkling
The advanced orders.
Yes.
Talking about the wine order fulfillment deck there, the purple deck. And I can see that. Yeah, I can agree with that for sure.
Because you have to build 2 different structures to be able to get higher number blush and sparkling wines.
Right. And I think you're talking about one of maybe the critiques that I have for the game, and that how you're going to do in this game can be very much tied into the luck of the draw when it comes to the cards. Because there, as you mentioned, there are wine order cards that are much more difficult to fulfill. There are vine cards that you have to build structures before you can plant them. And if you just get lucky and you happen to get the ones that don't require the structures or require the blushes or the white wine or the sparkling wines, you're going to have an easier time getting those points, especially in the beginning.
And I didn't feel like the points reflected the difficulty enough.
Yeah,
there
I kinda
wasn't
agree
a
with that
big
too.
enough difference between a one with just a white and a red and one with a blush.
I kind of agree with that too, yeah. For sure. Now, I have been told by several others that the expansions for this game, especially the Tuscany expansion, do fix some of these issues that we are bringing up. And so you will want to check that out for yourselves and see if that is something that makes this game a little more palatable to use maybe a wine reference there. But I still very much like this game. There is a reason why this game gets very high reviews, and that's because a lot of thought and effort went into making this game, and it shows. It shows in the mechanics, it shows in the structure of the game. Heck, it even shows it in the art of this game. I thought this was a very pretty game. What did you think about that, Sam?
Yeah, I agree with that. I'm sure you can tell in the video, us playing it, I keep touching the coins and the grapes, and I like the components of it a lot.
Yeah, this is definitely one that you get to the table and it just has an elegance to it.
Yeah.
So you won't be disappointed in putting this out on the table. You just have to be mindful that you have to be mindful of what you're in store for. It's not your average board game. It's a different pace of game. And as long as you're okay with that, and as long as your non-gamer friends fully understand the game, which may take a playthrough, I think this is one that can work for you guys. So Sam, the question, is this a game that you'd recommend for non-gamers?
I think so. Maybe a non-gamer that is trying to become a gamer, not a first-time non-gamer, one that is willing to really give it a shot and not playing it with just 2 players.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Let's get to our ratings. Sam, I'll let you go first. Scale of 1 to 10, love to hate. What do you give this game?
I think a 7.2.
7.2, very fair, very fair. I'm going to go ahead and give this game a 7.7. I like it a little bit more than Sam, I think, and it's one that I do want to come back to. All right, guys, there you have it. If you like this game, check out the link in the description of the video. If you like this video, please consider liking and subscribing. We are Love to Hate, and we'll catch you next time.